Okay, so this is just absolutely ridiculous. Judging by the title, you can probably tell why. So I've been waiting to tell this for about a week now. I was waiting because I had to contact the person in the story time and be like, hey, is it cool if I tell a story time about this? Because, they work a job where if, they find out that, they smoke weed, they might get in trouble. I don't know, right? So anyway, the story time is ridiculous. Let's just jump into it. So the story time all takes place literally last weekend. I was in my room rendering a video to put on YouTube, as I do, and my buddy Jake calls me, and I haven't seen Jake in about 2 months. He's been busy with work and stuff, and I've been just doing my thing, and he called me up, and he's like, yo, dude, I haven't seen you in 2 fucking months. Where you been? And I was like, just doing what I usually do, man. How about you? And he's like, same here, dude. You trying to kick it tonight? It's been a minute. I was like, yeah, man, let's kick it. So Jake comes over, and me and him were hanging at my house for about an hour, hour and a half, and then I hit up some other friends of mine. We ended up linking up with them like an hour later. So now it's about four of us in a group, and we don't really know what to do. We're just kind of sitting in my house. We're bored, not really anything going on, like no parties, no fun stuff really. We just had nothing like planned. So I threw out the idea of going to this coffee shop nearby. And it's not just any coffee shop. It's this really cool coffee shop that's open super late. It's kind of like a bar for people that don't like alcohol. Like it's literally set up kind of like a bar would be, but it's for coffee. So it's really awesome. And it's open super late, and it's a good thing to do when there's nothing else to do because they have like pool tables and stuff like that. So I'm like, hey, let's go there. And everyone's like, yeah, good idea. So me and all my homies hopped in my friend's car. We drove to this coffee shop. We got there. It was packed. Friday nights usually pretty packed. But yeah, we got to this coffee shop. We ordered our drinks. We got a table. We sat down. And we're just drinking our coffee, kind of just talking, doing what we normally do, right? And then while we're chatting, just doing our thing, a man walks through the front door of the coffee shop that looks very familiar. Like, too familiar. And I'm like, why do I know that face? Like, who is that? Like, I swear I know him. And I look over at my friend Jake. I'm like, Jake, do you know that guy too? Like, I swear I know him from somewhere. And Jake went to the same high school as me. And Jake looks at him and goes, dude, that's our fucking principal. And I was like, no way. Now I'm going to give my principal a name for the sake of the story time because I don't want to just keep calling him my principal. Let's just call him Principal Wallace, okay? That sounds like a principal name, Wallace. I feel like that's pretty principal-ish. Sorry if your last name's Wallace and I'm just calling you a principal right now. It's not a bad job to have. Anyway, so Principal Wallace walks through the coffee shop doors and we're like, yo, that's crazy. That's insane. We have to say hello to him. Like, we haven't seen him in years. So we get up. We walk over to him as he's ordering his drink. We get in line behind him. He gets done ordering. He turns around to grab a straw, and he sees us there. And it looks like he saw a ghost. Like, he looked almost scared of us. And I was like, hey, Principal Wallace. And my friend Jake's like, hey, what's up, man? And my principal just goes, hey, guys, long time no see. And he starts, like, laughing. And I was like, yeah, man, how you been? He's like, pretty good, pretty good. Just been doing the principal stuff, as usual. And I was like, that's good, that's good. He's like, how's everything been with you guys? And Jake's like, pretty good, just working over at this factory, blah, 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 like, just explaining his job. And then he looks at me and he's like, what about you, Austin? Still a famous YouTuber? And I started laughing. Now, if you're new to this channel, my entire school knew about my YouTube channel coming up. Like, everybody in my school knew about it from, like, the minute I had, like, 1K subs, pretty much. So it was always just, like, a given that I did YouTube. So when he said that, it didn't surprise me. It was just funny. However, my channel has grown a lot more since high school, like way bigger than when I dropped out. So I responded, and I was like, yeah, I still do YouTube. He's like, yeah, how many subscribers you got nowadays? And the coffee shop employee hands him his drink, and he starts sipping it, and I go, just over 3 million subs. And it was literally some shit out of a TV show. He spit his coffee, his drink, back into the cup, and he goes, holy fuck. And I just started dying laughing because I've never heard my principal say some shit like that. And he's like, 3 million? Are you shitting me? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, dude, someone from my school is famous. And I was like, I'm not famous, but thank you. That is very, very nice of you. And he's like, well, congrats, man. Like, I'm so happy to hear things are going good for you. And I was like, thank you very much. You too. And it was so cool because, like, it was the first time I talked to my principal and he wasn't yelling at me for misbehaving. You know what I mean? Like, he was actually just, like, having a conversation with me outside of school stuff. And he was talking to me like a friend, not like a student, which was really cool. So we talked for a couple minutes and we're just kind of standing there holding up the line. And I'm like, all right, hey, we're going to go back to our table. You're welcome to join us if you want. And he's like, yeah, why not? So our principal comes over to the table with us and sits down. And we're all just having coffee together, like, just kind of talking shit. Like, it was really cool. And then we all got done with our drinks, and we headed outside because we were going to leave. And when we got back to our cars, we were parked, like, right next to each other. And one of my homies, not Jake, not the one that went to school with me, but another friend of ours, went in the backseat of the car and grabbed this blunt because he wanted to smoke after he got done. And our Principal Wallace, sees this, and he goes, "Oh, I see you guys all still smoke weed." And I laughed, and I was like, "Actually, I don't really do it anymore." And he's like, "Really? Like, you were the biggest stoner in high school." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." And he's like, "You really don't smoke at all anymore?" And I was like, "No, I do, just not that often." And he's like, "Well, can I tell you a secret, Austin?" And I lean in, and I'm like, "What's the secret, Principal Wallace? What are you going to tell me?" And I really thought he was about to say some shit like, "Oh, good, like weed's bad for you." But he goes, "I smoke now, too." And all of my friends heard it, and we all just started dying laughing. And I'm like, "No fucking way, Principal Wallace, are you out here smoking weed?" And he's like, "Yeah, here and there, not every day, just like, when I need to unwind." And I was like, "You're kidding me right now. Like, you're full of shit. No way." And he goes, "Hey, if you don't believe me, I don't know what to say." And he takes the blunt out of my homie's hand and just hits it like a G. Like, straight up hits it, ghost inhales, blows it out like he's been doing it for years. And I was like, "No fucking way." And we all just start dying laughing again because we couldn't believe it. And Jake's looking at me like, "Dude, our principal is a fucking G." And after he hits the blunt, he hands it to me. Now, I don't really smoke anymore. Like I said, it gives me a shit ton of anxiety nowadays. But, like, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I had to hit the blunt at least once with my principal. So I did it. I hit it once, maybe twice, and I handed it back to my homie. And we just, like, had a little circle for, like, a couple of minutes and just talked and said goodbye to each other. And right before we left, I shook my principal's hand, and I was like, "Hey, man, I know I wasn't the best student, and I didn't always see the vision you had for me. But at least it all worked out in the end, and you're a kick-ass principal. I appreciate you." He's like, "Of course, Austin." He's like, "I always just wanted the best for my students, always wanted the best for you, and clearly you found a way to make that happen, and I'm so happy for you, man." I was like, "Thank you." And I ended up giving him a hug because he was just such a cool dude, and we just went our separate ways. I got in my friend's car, he got in his, and we dipped. And I just drove home with all my friends, just like everyone in disbelief because the school principal just hit a blunt with us. And my homie was driving, and he's like, "Dude, I wish I hit the blunt. You know how cool it'd be to say I smoked with a school principal?" And my friend didn't hit it because he was driving and he didn't like to smoke and drive, which is extremely responsible. I do appreciate him for not getting completely obliterated and then driving. It's very responsible to do that. So yeah, be like him. But yeah, the whole situation, just everything from start to finish of that night was crazy. And the first thing I thought when I got home was, I have to tell my subscribers about this, because if I don't know what I'm going to do, because this is one of my favorite stories ever now. So I went on Facebook, and I had to make a new Facebook account because I deleted my old one. And I made a Facebook account just for this reason, just to add my principal and message him and be like, "Hey, can I please tell that story of hanging out with you on Friday and smoking that blunt? Like, please." And he's like, "Oh, of course." He's like, "Just don't drop my name." And I'm like, "Yeah, don't worry, I got you." So yeah, here we are. Principal Wallace, even though it's not your real name. Shout out to you, because I know you're probably watching. And yeah, moral of the story is, sometimes your teachers and your principals can be really, really cool people. And they're not allowed to get you like I thought they were sometimes in high school. So yeah, respect your teachers and your principals and stuff, because usually they just want the best for you. And me, as a shithead teenager, I didn't really see that. Don't get me wrong, there was a couple that did not want the best for me, and those ones can all fuck off. But the ones that did, I love them all now. But yeah, guys, like I said, this is just one of my favorite stories ever now. So I hope you guys liked it too. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace. I lost my mind, yeah, you were too late.